I'm not really a fan of horror games. Not because I'm inherently a terrified person or anything, that's a little silly. I'm just not that interested in them. Why would I spend my time trying to give myself a heart attack when I can just peacefully build and enjoy huddling in a hut? Evidently this is equally as unsettling. I changed my mind actually, hold on, let me go back. Again, not really a fan. But Lethal Company isn't really much of a traditional horror game. There's still the classic spooky environments and spooky creatures, but when your friend is talking about heading back to the ship when we're both in distress to then suddenly get cut off mid-sentence...
I'm already full of my inventory, so I need to go back.
Yeah, it's scary now because you're alone, but it's also really, really funny. Comedic relief in horror has gotten really popular since then.
And bye.
And that relief is also really important. Alright, I'm in. Oh. Oh my god. So when you play a horror game where the only relief you get is the mundane task of doing first grade math, hours of cleaning garbage with a broom, hearing nothing come out of your headphones but a conglomerate of old Half-Life sound effects. What? Where the only source of terror is the jump scare you get when you accidentally trip over yourself. Oh my god. Okay. Only to then get back up. That's crazy. That is crazy. And follow the same mundane task of cleaning. And walking and doing more work to get more signals. I don't know. You might be inclined to write it off as a bad horror game. Which might be fair to say in some cases. And yet, there's a lot of people that say otherwise. But where's the over-the-top jump scares and creepy monsters? What the fuck? What the fuck? No. Never mind that. Welcome home to your new paradise.
Shoe nice.
In Voices of the Void. A game set in Switzerland where you start your first day at an entranceway of a large facility surrounded by satellites in the middle of a forest. I'd love to show you what it looks like from here, but for whatever reason, the game decides to start you in the middle of the night. Alright, well, can't wait to see what the reason for that is. If you can find your way into the facility, you'll realize pretty soon that you've been tasked to collect signals from space and process them through a variety of machines, and send them back to headquarters, where the only friends and coworkers you can talk to are now the unsettling amount of unexplainable mannequins that are scattered throughout the facility, that do nothing more than give you a sense of unease as they stare back at you. And the only form of communication between you and your employers is through the 1990s computer that sits in your work area. Send me some signals and write some numbers on a piece of paper. Deliver them outside and we will pick them up for cash. Do what you want with what we give you. Okay, great. I can't wait to see what Dr. Bao looks like. He sounds like a great guy. It's a drone. You know what? Maybe I'll see someone soon. I'm sure they'll check up on me eventually. They have to. Obviously, a very wrong assumption. When your entire facility is riddled with so much trash and an excessive amount of roaches that eating them is a more efficient way of getting your meals in, as opposed to just cooking a meal yourself, a correct assumption might be that nobody has been here to clean up this mess in a very, very long time. Look at my shower. Why is there a burger on top of my toilet lid? Hold on, I wonder what happens if I put this in the microwave. I have a lot of interesting things that I want to say about this game. One really funny quirk is being able to put whatever you want on a TV. And that's why this video is sponsored by NordVPN. Wait, hold on, because this is actually quite useful. You know, as much as I love watching TV, and I know a lot of you do too, I mean, look at, there's a lot of shows and movies that can't be accessed regardless of the streaming services you have because it's locked in your region. So unless you want to make the trip to the UK or anywhere else to watch what you want to watch, you're kind of out of luck, which is really disappointing sometimes. Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit was on my watch list today, so now I'm stuck watching that. It's a really common problem for a lot of people, and I don't really envy them. Luckily, I have NordVPN, a nifty device that acts as your truly unlocked global internet. Super simple, you just click a button, and now it looks like your internet is coming from anywhere you choose on the globe. No restrictions. The show that you wanted to watch that isn't available in the US but is in a different area in the world is now fully accessible for you to gawk at. Congratulations. I just saved you an expensive trip, and you can thank me later. But it also protects you, which is also really important to me. If something happened to my computer and all my stuff, I'd literally really lose my mind. I don't go outside, but I'm sure most of you do. Actually, probably not. I mean, look at you. It's still really useful to just have on your devices. If you're just browsing the internet, it helps to avoid any malware. And if you do happen to go outside, it's also really useful when you're connecting to public Wi-Fi to avoid any funny business from a funny person with bad intentions. Browsing the internet is a lot safer with peace of mind. And that's a huge plus for me and for you. Get it? It's worth it. Use my link. That's where you're going to get the best deal at nordvpn.com/angel. You also get 4 additional months by signing up with my link. It's risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, that's nordvpn.com/angel, or you can just click the link in my description or the pinned comment. That works too. Thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring this video.
Hamburger.
As soon as you just approach the facility, you'll start to notice a lot of things that seem pretty normal at first glance are actually pretty unusual when put into the context of a basement for collecting and processing radio signals. Hang in there, says the very out-of-place poster with a cat on it. I like this one, though. Everything here kind of feels off in some form or another. The colorful murals and the posters on the wall indicate that this could have been a place for children, yet it clashes with the rustic and cold prison-like appearance of the whole thing. There are notes written for you that tell you the passwords to doors, which isn't anything out of the ordinary. But there's this entrance outside that obviously leads down somewhere. There's no trash or anything you'd normally find inside the facility down these stairs. Nothing but an intentionally placed card that's visible through the slit. You can't open the door since it's locked, and the note you find on the floor isn't telling you the code, it's telling you not to enter along with a sign alerting danger. You can make an argument that the notes on these doors are simply here to let you know the codes and get you familiar with the mechanic of just punching in numbers. But whether intentional or not, it also indirectly gives you a sense that this was set up for you by someone else, like they were anticipating you'd be here. You can still turn on the lights. The fridge and microwave are still humming. The clock by the bed you can sleep in is still ticking. The servers are still online. Everything here still functions and is ready to be used and worked on by multiple employees. Yet the entire place is so trashed and dirty that it looks like it hasn't been touched in ages. And you're the only one that was sent here. It's not abandoned. It feels like you've walked into someone's home moments before they vanished. They should be here. And everything suggests that something was. Or maybe still is. I'm just kidding. That was my rock. When you're only on your first couple of in-game days and you've gotten a sense of where you are and have gathered some sort of ideas how you're supposed to operate, I'm not gonna lie, the horror aspect can seem a little bit underwhelming. Ooh. Spooky. Why did I decide to play this again? Oh yeah, because I never do horror games. So hey, I have a fun idea. Let me do an indie that hasn't been talked about 5 million times and one that happens to be the most popular horror game on itch.io. That'll be a fun video with a strong label. So forgive me if I'm a little bit confused when I download it and come to find out that I'm just playing a multitude of job simulators. Are you supposed to be scared of the fact that you're the only employee? That's an actual real-life nightmare. Hey, are you seriously working all by yourself? I'm processing signals, running the servers, traveling to fix the transformers, coming back to base to buy upgrades and your own food. Yeah, this is taking forever. I'm still waiting on this to process. Traveling to all the satellite dishes, doing a lot more math, writing more numbers and letters down, then coming back and cleaning the lobby all at the same time. Actually, you know what? Clean the goddamn kitchen too while you're at it. The night shift did absolutely nothing for you. I'm gonna quit. If it's any consolation though, you've been supplied with a four-wheeler for you to have a false sense of efficiency for your travels. Make sure you put it in park when you want to get off. Are you kidding me? There's no way. No way. I lost my buggy. Is this all that you're here for? Is this all that you were meant to be? To do? To work endlessly until you die? Oh! Oh my god. What the fuck? What the fuck? Holy shit, guys, wasn't that scary? This game isn't really traditional in the way that it shows its horror elements. Yeah, that was a bit of a jump scare, and you're now in a weird nightmare with a parkour sequence. No, dude. No. I missed my... Okay. So, you know, There are times where you physically jump back in your seat, but it's actually quite interesting in the way that this game delivers. And it's not even horror. Its main course is more like consistent, subtle dread. Being alone isn't really that scary by itself, but in the context of where you are and what you're being asked to do here, searching space for signals in a giant empty landscape with strange noises and flickering lights, yeah, it's actually kind of creepy. What up, Fred? There's something in the vents. When you're out trying to fix the server for the satellite dishes in the middle of the night, what you're expecting is for something to be sneaking up on you in the bushes, coming out and just completely demolishing you. But instead, you're met with nothing. For at least in my experience, a very, very long time. Getting jump scared and actually encountering something is actually quite manageable. You soil yourself, and you feel that relief. Tension gone. And then you keep going. But if you strip the threat of a scary, creepy monster away, but keep the unsettling environment, now that tension has nowhere to go. What the fuck? Oh my god, dude. It's actually a little bit difficult to describe exactly what you feel when playing this game. Ew. Because from an outsider's perspective, it might seem pretty lame. And it kind of is in the beginning, to be honest. But stay with me. You might experience a similar feeling if you've played a different game before. You might have heard of it. You'd be surprised at just how unsettling it can be when the creeper that comes to blow up your shit isn't there anymore. You expect a zombie moan, a skeleton, to put an arrow through your head. So when you start the same old routine of starting a new world, getting the bare materials and then going down into a cave to get your little iron and coal, it's actually kind of crazy just how different your emotional response is when there's nothing there. The world just feels unnatural and hollow, like you're in the middle of a dark theater with no actors or crowd. Voices of the Void takes the same approach, but is very intentional with the execution. It sets up a mundane routine for you to follow, and once it gets you comfortable, it tosses a curveball. It knows how to get in your head, lower your guard, and when to reveal its dirty little tricks on you. What the? What the fuck? When a random car starts rolling down the hill in the dark after it's been hours of you just hammering away at signals and trying to keep the lights on in the base, that becomes a huge deal.
Stop.
Suddenly, you don't feel so alone anymore. And not in a good way either. Now you begin to ask a lot of questions. What? Is there someone in the car? Why are the plates digitally censored in like a fourth wall breaking way? What the fuck? Why is a Toyota Corolla in the middle of a forest in Switzerland? And why a Toyota Corolla, one of the most inconspicuous and normal cars to exist on Earth, is suddenly now the scariest thing about this whole thing? It's uncanny and unsettling with its normalcy. You can't take the car with you, by the way. It's just there now until you walk away and then it just disappears. Damn, okay, so I can't take this with me then. Crazy. Once you've gotten a few of these events thrown at you, it becomes clear that this game's language of fear isn't written in the way that you'd normally tend to experience most horror games. There's this day where you'll start to hear strange noises throughout the morning, which then gets followed up by a really loud alarm and the sunrise looking a little different than the ones you're normally used to. Everything outside starts to die, and if you try to walk outside, pieces of flesh start to come off your body. Ew. Looking directly at the sun exposes its new form, blocked out by a black square similar to the one that I found with the car and its license plates. Honestly, I have no idea what the point of this event is besides making everything visually change and also having an infinite food source through cannibalism, but I think that's actually the point. Not only is this game built to heighten your senses and to then rip your heart out later with a slip, but it also builds some of its events off of coolness and spectacle, leaving you to wonder, what else can happen in this world? And is it only through random chance? Alright, this is the first time I'm going to try something external here. I found a skull, and there's people in the Discord telling me to put this thing in the microwave. And by that I mean they're saying not to do it. Holy shit. Holy shit. What is that? Am I going to die here? Oh! I'm going to level with you for a moment. I know I kind of framed the video like I may have disliked the fact that you're just mundanely working and you're just kind of sitting around until the game decides to toss you something. But the game is actually really engaging during that downtime, which I think is one of the most underrated aspects about this game. Everything you do feels really tactile and hands-on, like you're actually doing the work rather than just clicking a button through a menu to get stuff done. As much as I want to say that it's annoying to have to calibrate the signal by constantly flipping the switches, waiting an eternity for it to process, physically putting in a drive into the machine, importing the signal to then place the drive into the individual slots into a box to send it off, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't find it satisfying. Every step is done manually by you. It actually feels like you're doing a job. A job that also requires a bit of exploration and curiosity. There's a lot of areas here that can be found that have a sense of purpose, given that the game refuses to tell you why things happen and how it happens. It likes to hide things from you. No, a hook? Ooh! Ah, okay. I think I could probably get this key card now if I could drag it. No, come on. There we go. Oh my god. I think, you know what, actually, I think these things have the key card on them on the side, actually. I think I'm almost certain this is gonna, yep. What the f... Oh, okay. Kerfer Omega series is a complicated system and requires several... This whole game seems to be like one massive Easter egg, loaded with some very unique puzzles, while also offering a really cozy backbone for you to sit back and customize your new home. Combine that with its horror elements, and you've got a very effective push and pull on your emotions. Calming and relaxing, but also terrifying. In the beginning of this video, I wanted to get through a lot of this game and make a more in-depth video, but I'm realizing now how much this game can potentially offer, and it would take me another 8 months to upload. So rather than spoiling anymore, I've decided to just leave it up to you if you want to try this game out for yourself, or you can watch me. This game is really fun. I'll be streaming this game very soon if this video does well. Thank you to my patrons for supporting me throughout the months. And one final thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video.